To start the medicine wheel pin, we're going to outline the design with our black beads. We're going to start from the back of the pellin with our needle and our thread doubled, and we're going to come to the front of the pellin on the outline of the medicine wheel. I'm going to use the tack over method, so I'm just going to pick up a pile of beads. I'm going to put on beads to get me to about here. And then I'm going to tack them down. And then you're going to hold your beads around. And you're going to tack down where your beads end. I'm on the back of the pellin, and I'm going to tack over or tack down these beads every third bead. So I'm going to come up on the left side of the beads, and then I'm going to go over top of the bead string, go on the other side, and tack down. And I'm going to do that all the way around until I get the beads, the beadwork outlined. Now that you have your medicine wheel outlined with the black beads, we are going to work on filling. So we're going to fill each one of the direction colors. I'm going to start with red, and we're going to follow the outline of the black beads to fill. So you're going to come up from the back of your pellin where you want to start the fill and start adding your beads. I'm going to do the same tack over method. Okay, let's see. This looks like it's enough. Looks like there was 3 beads too many, so I'm going to take those off. I'm going to go down the pellin. So now the beads are on and it's a bit loose. And now we're going to tack down the beads just like we did for the outline. So I'm going to come to the left side of those beads. I'm going to go over top of that string that the beads are on every 3 beads. So now that that row is tacked down, you're going to start your second row just below that row and add all your beads on and tack down. So once you're done filling the black, you're just going to work your way around and fill in these other 2 direction colors. So now that we're done beading the medicine wheel, we're going to add on the rhinestone plastic banding. Before we do that, I want to take off the paper of the pattern. And to do that, I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to score around the beadwork just lightly with the needle. And then that will make it easier for the paper to come off. Now we're going to add the banding. I like to start the banding at one of these spots here. And on the banding, there's a top string and a bottom string. I'm going to tack down every second string on this rhinestone banding to secure it to the beadwork. So I'm going to come to the back of the beadwork as close as I can get to the beads. And then I'm just going to go over top of that bottom string, pulling it close to the beadwork. And then the string goes over top of that row. I'm going to do the next one close to it, just so we can get a good, it's secure. And then I'm going to tack down every second. I'm going to skip this one. I'm going to tack down this one just so it goes a little bit quicker. And I'm going to do that all the way around. Now that your banding is attached, you can take a pair of scissors and we're going to cut it out. Now, because we secured the first string closest to the beadwork, we can cut really close to the outside of this banding because there's not going to be any string that we have to worry about accidentally cutting. Now we're going to add our bar pin and our backing. So now we're going to add the bar pin, and I'm going to add it about here, but I'm going to mark out the sparkle backing where the bar pin has to go. So I'm going to just do a little guesstimate right here. You'll take your pen and you're going to mark out where the bar pin needs to go through in the back of the backing. I'm going to fold the backing like this, and I'm going to make 2 slits for the bar pin. So I'm going to sew on the bar pin to the back of the beadwork. You're going to tack down at the bottom and at the top of the circle of the bar pins, and you're going to sew it down. You can also go see our bar pin tutorial on how to secure that. Now that you have your bar pin sewn on, if you have a glue stick, just an all-purpose glue stick, you can put it on the back of your beadwork. And then we're going to add the sparkle backing where you made the 2 slits. And they are going to go through this part of the bar pin and this part. And there. Right here. And that's going to hide the rest of that bar pin. And then we can cut this out with a pair of scissors. And now we're going to edge our beadwork. So now we're going to edge our beadwork. You're going to knot your thread and cut the tail off. You're going to come in between the beadwork. And that's going to hide your knot. We're going to add on 2 beads. You're going to come to the back, to the front, and we're going to go come up the last bead you put on. And we're going to repeat this till we get around the beadwork. I like to come to look at the back as I'm edging, and this helps me with spacing. Now, we're not going to use these as guides for our edging. We are just going to edge depending on how much space these beads need. Here is the finished beadwork, and this one has a silver edging.